Yo, what's up, you guys? It is Thursday, September 18th, and we are back with another TnS Daily review. So, jumping right into things, we actually don't have any pre-market setups anywhere, and I do want to show that my indicator settings are on the 1 minute preset, and that's pretty much about it. I'll turn on the old setups, which is historical mode, in a second, but I just want to get over the first couple of setups here. So far we don't have anything yet. This is the 930 candle. Still nothing yet. Okay, so we do have a short setup here, and this one I already know failed, so this is going to be trade number 1 as a loss. Okay, so now just showing that it did end up losing. Now is where I'll turn on the historical mode so I don't have to keep redrawing the trades. So this one did end up losing, and you can see it lost right there. So now I'll just turn it off really quick, just show you guys the long setup that we have here, and it's basically two long setups. The higher setup ended up failing because we basically ended up going all the way down to the lower setup. And unfortunately, the 25-point stop gets stopped out in the process of trying to get to that lower entry. So as you can see, it did get stopped there. So that means trade number 2 is also a loss for minus 25 points. Okay, now moving on, we tapped into this long setup, and this is the one that actually got TP. So this one will be a win for 42 points. And this one, I do want to show, this one actually took us all the way up to all-time highs, which was pretty much high of day. So you could have held this trade all the way up for 116 points if you really wanted to. Okay, now before I continue on to show you that it did hit, buy side and all that, it basically, it's kind of already there. But we had a short setup right here. This one ended up failing. I'm going to mark out the stop loss. Actually, I won't because I'm on historical mode. But trade number 4 is going to be a loss. And now to just show you it did lose. Once again, I'm going to go back to historical mode so we can see it. You can see it did hit the stop loss there. So once again, we only have 4 trades so far. 1 here, 2, 3, and then 4. So we're all up to date. Now, remember, ignoring this, we're only now looking at this long. So let me back up to about right here. This one, the indicator kind of glitched it a bit. So I'm going to take off historical mode for a second so we can focus on this play. This one was very quick. So in live time, you may have been confused by the indicator, but I'm going to explain it here. Nothing has changed. The rules have always been the same, right? So TnS gets its TP by looking at the first candle that taps the FEG and looking one candlestick to the left, which means if that's the case, this candle tapped the FEG for the first time. You look one candlestick to the left, this would have been the TP. Since the TP has already been hit, you would then use the TnS entry itself to realign for your target, which means as soon as the TnS entry gets tagged in, which is on this very next candle, you would then be looking one candlestick to the left for your target. And that's exactly what just happened here. It's just so happened that it got it all in one candle. So if I zoom in here, you can see it did, in fact, tap the entry to the tick and immediately go to this TP for 9 points. And so the indicator does have the right TP, however, it stays on the chart even though it's already gotten TP. So that's the part that's kind of glitchy. So some people may have been thinking that it's still looking to get TP here for 9 points, but no, it already did get TP. It just so happens that the indicator is still kind of glitched at this part sometimes when it gets TP in one candle. So trade number 5 is going to be a win for 9 points. And once again, just playing it out, the indicator still thinks it's trying to get TP, but it really already has. And then we get the short setup. So now we're only focusing on the short setup here. This one actually did end up winning. You can see the TPs for 14 points. So trade number 6 is going to be a win for 14. And now just showing you that it did win, working out the stop loss, the TP is down here. You can see it did get TP. So now I'm just going to fast forward it a bit because we didn't get it set up for a little bit of time. Actually, sorry, I guess it was a little bit faster than I thought. Okay, so here would be another example where you would have to be quick to notice the TP. Now this one, the indicator actually did kind of mess up the TP. So let me explain. This candle right here, it tapped the FVG for the first time, and it tapped the TnS entry here, which means you look one candlestick to the left, your TP is going to be this candle's high right here. Okay, it's not going to be this candle's high itself. That would only be the case if this candle had went up first, then tapped this FPG. Okay, now how do I know that it actually dipped down for the entry first, then went like up to the TP? Is because if I go down to the 15-second, we'll be able to see it clearly. And you can see we actually dipped down first, then hit this candle's high, and then we left that wick up there. And that's what it printed as on the 1 minute. That's actually why the indicator is getting confused here, thinking that this TP was for 28 points. And that 28-point TP, according to the indicator, did get hit, but truly this was a win for only 20 points, so that's what it will be counted as. I'm not here to cheat. I'm not here to give any extra points. However, this one actually you could have held for that target and it still also got hit, but it's not the real TP. So trade number 7 is going to be a win for 20 points. 20 points, not 28. But it was nice to see that this also did get TP according to the indicator, which once again is not correct. But it did still eventually get hit. Once again, that is not the real TP. The real TP would have been this candle right here because, let me just bring up historical mode. Because this candle tapped the FEG for the first time, you look one candlestick to the left, it's this high. And even though it doesn't look like it on the 1 minute, it's open, high, low, close. The 15-second shows it a bit better. You can see once again, we open here, a dip down to the FEG. The next candles, we end up tapping the actual TP. That's exactly what happened. We went down first, then we went up. On the 1 minute, it looks like we go up first, then down. So if that was the actual case, then this would have been the TP. However, that's not the case. So it's not the TP. That's why it's for 20 points one last time. But anyways, moving on. Enough about that setup. We actually got a short setup right up here. It took us a while to come back. And it actually took this play a while to even get TP once it got tagged in. But this will be play number 8 as a win for 14 points because I know it does get TP. Okay, so moving on just to show the TPs down here. It does get hit. I didn't really need to do that because I'm in historical mode. But trade number 8 is the win. And moving on, we took a while to make another setup. But this one was pretty heartbreaking because it got tagged in. It got super close to the TP. But unfortunately just dropped all the way back down. And the TP was only for 11 points, so maybe some people didn't see the play. But it did get stopped, so it's going to be trade number 9 as a loss. And I do want to say that was the last setup of the day. Because once again, I'm in historical mode, so if there was a play there, I would have seen it, and there's not a play there. But that leads us into 4 p.m. close, which means that these would be our final stats for the 1 minute TnS. So let's tally it all up and get our final results. All right, so these would be our 1 minute TnS final results for today. And today it walked away with minus 0.04R, minus 1 point, and that's with 5 wins and 4 losses today. So pretty much a break-even day for TnS today. Walking away with just minus 1 point on the day. And it also had a pretty nice 4-trade win streak in the middle of the day. And one thing about that I do want to speak on is that 1 minute TnS actually is able to get at least a 3-trade win streak at least one time throughout the week, which means every single week there is at least one day with a 3-trade win streak for the 1 minute TnS. And yes, that is a very real stat. It's kind of similar to like how the 5 minute gets at least one 100-point play per week. The 1 minute TnS is able to generate at least one set of 3 straight wins in a row per week. Yeah, keep an eye out for that. But yeah, guys, it's going to wrap it up for this daily review, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.